Meeting to order at 6:01. I'll entertain a motion. Let's see, one of those meetings. A motion to approve the minutes from October 11th, 2016.
So,
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from October 11th, 2016, signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
You abstain, so I'll vote in the affirmative, the motion passes. Additions and deletions, we need to, no it doesn't.
No, you only have 2 out of 5.
If he abstains, yes, the motion, it
So
does lack
I'll
of
carry
quorum.
I'll carry it to the next meeting.
Yes, please.
Fails.
Yeah, it does.
It's only a one-page document. It was a quick meeting last time.
So
But
we'll pick that up
that's no
next time
problem.
around. Additions and deletions, I'd like to add under new business, discussion about 2017 health insurance rates. And then I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules and move members of the public to the beginning of the agenda.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. So why don't we go ahead, Dale, before we start with Ms. Cox, I want to just ask you a question. I know you're here for the commissioner appointment and we'll take care of that early.
I'm also here for the budget and the Wyndham Solid Waste thing, if you had, I didn't know
okay.
Urban was gonna be here or not.
Okay, because the Wyndham Solid Waste is going to be a later discussion, it's going to be pretty intense. So if
I know.
you,
I
okay,
figured that's
you
why.
want to just leave the
I'm
agenda in
willing.
order?
I
Okay.
can-
So then why don't you go ahead and do your presentation?
Sure. All right. Do I stay right here? Is it?
You can sit there, you can sit here.
Okay,
and
yeah, sure.
so-
I can move a little
There's
bit
so
closer.
few of us right now that it
Right.
doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Here, I'll move a little bit closer so I can see everybody better. All right, so my name is Kristen Cox, and I am the program director for West River Valley Thrives, which is just right down the road here on Sawdust Alley, the corner of Sawdust Alley and Route 30. And I just wanted to come here today to formally introduce myself and to talk a little bit about our organization. Some of you might be familiar with it already, and that's about it. So I guess I'll start out by saying that our mission is to support and promote healthy lifestyle choices with an emphasis on the prevention of alcohol, marijuana, and other drug use by young people. So we are a substance abuse prevention coalition. So basically what that means is that we are a partnership, we have a partnership with local organizations and individuals who are all coming together and working toward a common goal of reducing substance use and abuse in this area. And we work specifically in the Wyndham Central Supervisor Union towns. As I said, I'm the program director, and then I also work with our project coordinator, Kate Venn. And it's just the two of us who are the staff people for the organization. And so the organization's been around for a little while, I think since about 2012. We used to have our office in Newfane, in the Creamery building, and after the fire we did move to Townshend. And we have continued to increase our capacity over the past couple of years. At this point in time, we're in our second year of our main source of funding, which is our Federal Drug-Free Communities grant. And that is a 5-year grant, which is competitively renewable for another 5 years. So hopefully we will have funding for 10 years to do the substance abuse prevention work that we do. So I guess I can just kind of start out by saying, what are some of the things that we do, some of our programs. So we do a lot of work with Leland and Gray. We have an office there as well, actually, in the Leland and Gray building. And the majority of our work is prevention programs with the 7th to 12th graders. And we have one program called Refuse to Use, which is actually a program that was designed by another prevention coalition in Londonderry, where students will pledge to remain substance-free for 1 year and attend various prevention programs throughout the year. in exchange for a pass to Stratton for $35. So it's a pretty good deal for the students. We also have a group in the middle school called Above the Influence, and those are students who are pledging to remain above the influence of all different sorts of just negative influences in their lives, such as substances primarily, and then also bullying and so forth. And they do different types of youth leadership activities throughout the year. We also have a partnership with the other prevention coalitions in Windham County, and we do some policy work. We do a lot of work around the safe disposal and safe storage of prescription medications. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Lock Your Meds campaign, that's one of the things that we do. We also distribute a lot of different substance abuse prevention information at different events. We had a table at the Pumpkin Festival, for example, and we distribute a lot of information also through print and media and through social media. And we provide some parenting support and classes as well, although we're not doing that right now. And so that's primarily what we're doing right now in the Townshend area. And some of the strengths that we see here, certainly there are a lot of great organizations that are supporting Townshend area youth and community members, like the Townshend Business Association, the West Townshend Store, the Community Hope and Action Group, which we work with very closely as well. Grace Cottage, certainly the schools and the after-school programs, and then the food shelf, and I'm sure there's many more that I'm not mentioning here. And what we're seeing is, with all the efforts of these organizations together, in the 2015 Youth Risk Behavior Survey, which is administered to students in grades 6 to 12, we did note for 2015 that there was a slight decrease in use for most substances. So fewer students are reporting that they're using alcohol, fewer students are reporting that they're using marijuana, and fewer students are reporting that they are abusing prescription drugs, which is great. But some of the challenges that we're still seeing is that as the rates of use are going down, the perception of harm is going down. So students may be using those substances slightly less, but they're also reporting at a slightly lower rate that they find that those substances are harmful, or that they think that they're harmful, and also that they think that their parents would disapprove if they were using them. And still, although the rates of use are going down, we're still seeing that maybe about a quarter of students in grades 9 to 12 in the WCSU report past 30-day use of both alcohol and marijuana. So that's something that we continue to work on. And we're also looking at what are some of those underlying risk factors that are contributing to that substance use, such as poverty. And I know that Grace Cottage identified in their community health needs assessment for 2015 that there are challenges with mental health issues in this area. So those are some of the things that we're looking at as well. And then I guess as far as next steps for our organization, we are hoping to have a more concrete partnership with Grace Cottage, looking at some of those health issues in this area. And we are also, with our countywide partnership of coalitions, we are creating a prevention planning primer, which we hope to distribute to each town, and we're working with the Windham Regional Planning Commission on that. That will just help to guide each town in how to incorporate some of those prevention considerations into town plans once those come due to be reviewed. And we're also hoping to do a little bit more youth leadership programming, start up some parenting groups, hopefully. We haven't had a lot of success with that at this point, but we're hoping to work on that this year. And also, just a little plug, we do have a fundraising event this coming Saturday, which it's a Halloween costume 5K race, and that's going to take place along the West River Trail, just up Route 30 down to the Townshend Dam Recreation Area. That's at 10 o'clock on Saturday. And I also just wanted to say, just thank you to the town for the continued support that we receive for our organization, and it's just such a supportive community to work in, which is immensely helpful in the prevention world for sure. And just if there's if there are any concerns or observations that anyone has regarding, substance or health issues in this town, we are available as a resource, and we're happy to help in any way that we can. And I also have just some folders with some different types of information in here, and some contact info, and I can leave some of these for you. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions? I just have could you just clarify your funding source?
Sure.
Are you working specifically from that grant, or are you actually receiving funding through the schools, through WCSU?
We're not receiving any direct funding through the school. They are providing us an in-kind office space and office supplies and a phone line, but we're not receiving any funding from them. Our two primary funding, our primary funding sources are Federal Direct for Communities grant, and then through our countywide partnership, we also have what's called the Regional Prevention Partnership Grant, and that's a Vermont state grant. For our collaborative prevention work. And those are our two sources of funding at this time.
Eric, did you have anything? No? Okay, if you want to leave some of those packets, we
Sure.
do have two members who aren't here tonight.
All right, well, I have 6. Will that be enough?
That'll
be
be
fine.
fine.
All right, great.
I'll get him down to the other two. Kit
All right.
Martin is one of them. He's
Great.
worked with substance abuse as a counselor for many, many years,
Oh,
so.
great. All right,
so he's
Well, I will-
with the organization.
leave these here for
You
you
have
all.
these 3 members here, and I'll take the
Sure.
other ones for the,
And
Thank you.
thank you so much for
Absentee.
giving me the time to
Thank you.
tell you my little spiel.
and if you have an extra,
All right.
I'll leave one on the counter at
Sure.
the town clerk's office.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay,
Full call.
then we'll go back up to the top and pick up the reports. Starting with the highway foreman was not able to make it tonight. So the only update I have on the Plumb Road Bank Stabilization Grant is the pole has not been moved yet. So therefore, that grant is still in a holding pattern, waiting for something to happen with Green Mountain,
That
or
right there,
Green Mountain Power.
it must be the correspondence, because I never had any trouble getting it moved. It's been quite a while here that,
The pole's in, the replacement pole out of the right of way is in, evidently it's getting the wires transferred to the new pole,
Yeah.
that seems to be the issue.
with,
Anyway, Kurt talked between meetings, he came in and talked to you, I believe, but he indicated that because the grant doesn't expire until 2017, that, and because the weather's changing, it's not something he'd likely be getting to.
no, but if you don't keep right after it, it's not gonna happen.
No, I know.
And the other grant that we still have on the back burner is the network inventory grant. And just to bring you up to date on that, he was going to contract with Wyndham Regional to do that inventory grant. And I asked the question whether or not they were going to have, what is it officially called? What do they tack on?
It's
to-
it's the federal approved rate.
It's an overhead charge
Right.
that they tack on to the base rate. And I asked him, I said, is the contract that you've entered into with Wyndham Regional or proposing, does the base rate, is that the whole cost? Or are we gonna turn around and have that additional cost added? He couldn't answer that. In the meantime, we've still not really gotten an answer. We instructed him to go speak to Edward Hammond, wasn't it?
Yeah.
About doing the network inventory, and he's working for somebody full-time. Wasn't certain that he could get to it, so right now, even the network inventory is kind of doing this.
Yeah, but how is his price compared to Wyndham Regional?
Hammond's about a quarter of the price.
Let's call it a third. Kurt indicated though that because Wyndham Regional works so closely with V-Trans, that it's kind of a seamless transfer of data, and that what Hammond has is not the same sort of database for doing it. My understanding on the network inventory, some of it I believe does have to be done professionally, but most of it's GPS coordinates and full assessment, and the bigger part of it is the presentation to the board to get it into a 5-year plan or however long that, I think it's a 5-year plan that gets made out on it.
The man's gone from Wyndham
Man
Regional.
Well, what,
yeah,
Right.
Matt Mann has left Wyndham Regional, but Jeff Nugent, I believe, trying to take his place in the mapping. And Kurt had indicated that Jeff would be willing to work for Wyndham Regional, work with the town.
Has he looked in to see if V-Trans technicians would help him?
I don't think we've looked at V-Trans at all.
Because I know I've had conversation with Mark about it, and he says they can come out and actually help with that.
Well, Wyndham Regional helped Kirk put together a grant application. We did receive the application and the approval. The board just hasn't signed off on it yet, in part because of a discrepancy in the estimates as to what it would cost, and in part in trying to figure out what's actually involved in this. Some towns do it in-house.
With a little technical support, Kurt could be able to do most of it.
Well, we're out of date going on 2 years now, so I mean, for a year and a half anyway, so.
In the meantime, that's a grant that's sitting in the background, waiting for some type of answer that I can't seem to get, so.
I mean, it also doesn't expire for a while, but the state
17.
does want to know if we're gonna take it or not, kind of thing, so, yeah.
If that, seems like he should have been able to get an answer of some kind.
I have asked every meeting we've had for the last
I
2 or 3
realize that,
months.
but there's,
Well, it's
somebody's dragging
back
the
to
feet.
July probably, and then some.
Okay, so then, for lack of anything else, I know of nothing else that's going on with the highway.
Culvert going in,
Oh,
state
there's a
forest.
culvert going on state forest, that's right.
Bob's on vacation, they've been ditching and salting and picking up sticks, I guess. But the big culvert, 36-inch culvert on State Forest Road. Supposed to have gone in today, I believe it did go in today.
All right, then law enforcement, I don't know if you noticed in the packet, there was actually a bill for our speeding and law enforcement needs from the state police. And we have before us a proposed amendment to this is if I'm the right way, you have the correct clean copy, right, on the clipboard?
Yeah, I talked to a deputy stopped by and just said there was a gap in our ordinance that was signed in 2003. I think you have a copy of that as well.
So we have the original 2003 one that was signed by Bill Eckert, Bernice, Irv, you signed that original one, and Scott Chase. And
But what are they changing?
what they're changing is the state put in that section of road coming down from the dam where it's 50, it now doesn't go straight from 50 to 30. It does a 40-mile-an-hour slowdown for about 0.2 of a mile. And what's happening is, it's out there because Craig and I both did the run today. What's happening is when they do traffic enforcement, speed enforcement, they're trapping people in that 40-mile-an-hour zone. And because that's not actually in our policy, the town portion of that ends up going to the state as revenue and doesn't come back to the town.
So we don't get
No,
our
that-
portion of the fines.
That 40 starts,
At Stratton Road.
huh?
That's- no, I'm
Ritchie's
sorry, not Stratton Road.
Ritchie's Road.
Ritchie's Road, rather, yeah.
And it ends right at where that fence is, behind the guardrail, right as you come into the village of West Townsend. It's about 0.2 of a
It
mile.
is exactly 0.2, best I can measure with mine, so it's close enough.
Yeah,
So
that's
anyway,
the standard changer, and then there has to be a transition for every 10 miles an hour, there has to be a transition.
So we're just losing revenue.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering where it was because I know we went through that with the state police in West Townsend. And we met with the state police, in fact, they got run over that day.
Good place to be
With the
with
state
people.
police, and that's when that was brought about, what the speed limits are there, and they always, after having that meeting.
No, it changed some time back. I don't think too long ago, but it did change some time back. And anyway, a deputy stopped in to at least make me aware of it. Very simple thing to do is to amend, leave the ordinance as is, no changes other than one section. You're gonna take out 0.2 of a mile, that's 50, and you're gonna change it to 40. Basically, that's what the proposal I drafted up is. But,
Who stopped in?
a deputy state policeman, I didn't get his name. We talked for a
That'd be
little
a
while.
trooper, it
A
wouldn't be
trooper,
no
yeah.
deputy.
Yeah, trooper, that's what I meant.
Valancourt.
Valancourt, yeah,
So
sergeant.
It-
Excuse me.
at this particular time, if we're comfortable making our ordinance match what the roads actually show, we'll need to warn this amendment to the the local enforcement of speed limits on state highway. So I would entertain a motion to do so.
Make a motion to accept the amendment,
No, to warn
to
the,
warn the amendment
to the
to the
local
local
enforcement.
enforcement of the speed limits on the state highway.
That's right. Is there a second? I'll second it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of warning the amendment to the local enforcement of speed limits on a state highway signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Motion fails for lack of a quorum.
You just already got a 40 thing up there.
Yeah, but your ordinance doesn't cover that.
Yeah, it's not in our ordinance.
Because it's not in our ordinance, we lose the revenue. All right.
All right, if it ain't changing the signs and stuff, then,
No,
The
nothing's,
signs, the signs are already there.
yeah. Then I'll vote in favor.
Okay, so passes then. And you want to warn this for a meeting? Well, it's warned.
It's warned, and they have a comment period, and then we will, it'll be.
Pick it up,
it'll-
we'll pick it
it'll
up at
be-
the end of November.
It'll be adopted, right,
Right.
if there's no comment
Okay.
to it. But since those signs are already up, and it's already being enforced at that, there shouldn't be any comment. All right, where are we here?
All right, we'll get that pinned to the wall then.
Please. And in the post offices too, if you would.
Yep, 5 places.
Okay, the town clerk, you all got a copy of the money, the counter money that's come through. And Mr. Treasurer Dano,
I have a figure tonight.
you made her do her job, did you?
Yes, it is. We have $917,629.42.
All right.
Okay, so now we know we can actually pay the bills tonight, that's always a good thing.
Yeah,
That's general fund checking. All right.
yeah, general fund.
Okay, any questions for the treasurer? Hearing none, let's
How
move
did
on.
the taxes come in for that first quarter?
On average, we had a lot pay all 4 quarters, so you're gonna have to be careful.
Yeah, I have to be careful, right?
On spending later on down the line, especially the last quarter.
Well, we were discussing earlier whether there would be a need for maybe a line of credit, but as of right now, it doesn't appear that we're gonna need one,
Okay, let's,
being the end of October and,
well, that's it, we've spent, all the summer projects are paid for.
yeah, we've got, you know, some expenses coming in for a highway garage. We didn't spend a lot of money on highways, so I mean, there will be
Right.
some to winter up, get winter ready.
But I'm just saying the major projects for the summer are paid for, so it's not like they're going to
No,
drain.
they're basically
The cash.
taken care of, and we have taxes in a month, I guess, just about,
Yeah.
coming in again, so.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and do the warrants, Rob?
With these warrants, you wanna go by the,
I want to go with
Just
that
the-
number,
all right.
payroll board number
sounds
one.
good. Like, I'd make a motion to pay check warrant number 1 on payroll in the amount of $7,699.22.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll warrant number 1 in the amount of $7,699.22 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay warrant number 2, payroll taxes in the amount of $3,182.18.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll tax warrant number 2 in the amount of $3,182.18 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay warrant number 3 out of the general fund in the amount of $4,712.05.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 3 in the amount of $4,712.05 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay warrant number 4 out of the highway fund in the amount of $14,917.02.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those,
That includes, the biggest chunk of that is the mower.
is the mower, right? All those in favor of paying highway warrant number 4 in the amount of $14,917.02 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay warrant number 5 out of the equipment fund, $1,972.64.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying equipment warrant number 5 in the amount of $1,972.64 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay warrant number 6 out of the general fund in the amount of $117.19.
Is there a second?
I've got a question.
Sure.
That's an awful lot of miscellaneous, $100 and something worth.
That is the petty cash that's in the front office, that pays for the postage, the stamps that they need for the front office and
Well,
whatnot.
that's
And-
what I had the question, just because I thought there was an answer for it, but.
Right, and what she does is it gets to a certain point, and you notice all the receipts tacked onto it. She submits the receipts and takes it back to whatever her base is, okay? So is there a second on that then?
Yep.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 6 in the amount of $117.19 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay warrant number 7 out of the general fund in the amount of $49.60.
Oh, okay. Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 7 in the amount of $49.60 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, that's only 7 of them. Wow, I'm impressed. Okay, then moving on, to correspondence. We received a card from the American Red Cross that says, "Dear Townshend Selectboard, on behalf of the board, staff, and volunteers of the American Red Cross of Vermont, New Hampshire, I cannot thank you enough for agreeing to appropriate funds this year to our organization. Without the support from the citizens of Townsend, we would not be able to carry out our mission of preventing and alleviating human suffering in the face of emergencies in your community and throughout Vermont. Thank you again, Claire." Yeah, I'm not going to attempt the last name. So it's a thank you from the Red Cross. And the other piece of communication or correspondence that we had was from Christina Angell. It's another long one. I'll be happy to read it, but you all have a copy of it.
Yeah.
Is this something you want me to read into the record, or is this something that we just want to acknowledge we have and wait to see?
In the Vermont statute,
Mhm.
there's a thing on drainage. And then nobody is supposed to block it off, but the right of way is there.
Well, we've gone down this road a couple of times already.
But did anybody get the lie up?
We don't have the specific, all we have
No,
from the
I'll get
handbook.
it for you.
That would be
I've
helpful,
been through this.
because this is what we have. That's from the,
In Title 19, this statute.
okay. Well,
I'll dig them out, or I'll come in the office here and get them so we have them for the next meeting.
the issue with this letter, as far as I'm concerned, is we've had multiple letters and we've dealt with this issue, made decisions twice. This letter doesn't really ask us to do anything. So there's really no action we could take based on this letter.
Unless it fills in, so it's spreading all over the place. According to statutes, there's nothing you have to do to it.
There is a swale there, and
That's what I say, that it's not spreading, I've been by it.
right, and there were some issues that were attended to. Putting in a culvert at the other end of the stone wall so it would discharge.
Who put the stone in?
Well, that was done by a private contractor, and she had that put in, and then it didn't get spread out, but it's pretty heavy stone. I mean, it's 3 inch or better.
No, it's ditch stone.
That's ditch
Is there a
stone.
difference
Yeah.
between light stone and heavy stone?
Well, it's not,
Some of us pumice, you know. it just-
They always 16
Wasn't
ounces
sure
a pound.
5-6
I
inches
mean,
heavy.
bottom
stone.
line, the water runs down the hill. All right, old business.
can you explain that to us?
Okay, so if you would get the actual statute, that would probably be helpful. And hopefully Kit will be able to be at the next meeting because he's, again, we've all been through this together.
There was a big investment in this one.
So maybe the five of us could actually sit down and put this to bed once and for all. Old business, there's nothing that I'm aware of that needs to be added. Is there? Corey?
That I know of them.
Okay. Then, under new business, health insurance. If you remember last year when we had the discussion, budget discussion about health insurance for our employees, and Dale, you'll remember this because this is the one we beat to death.
Oh, yeah.
We decided that the town was going to base its contribution to health insurance for our employees on a fully paid, fully funded, two-person silver plan under the new health exchange, okay? We today got the new rates for, next fiscal year, beginning in, not fiscal year, calendar year, beginning in
Calendar year.
January. It doesn't work with our years, it's off kilter.
No.
So what we have normally done is on the 1st of January, when those new rates come into effect, we have been using that new basis, and the budget does or does not reflect it, depending on who's taking what. So this year in particular, a two-person silver plan annually will cost the town $12,502. And
It's about 1,000 higher than.
it's about 1,000 more than we had last year. Unfortunately, we're in a time crunch with the state. You're required to notify your employees in the month of October and give them until November.
Yeah, we've actually got until December, but the employees will be notified because they're already on a mailing list within the next week or so, but they want our decision as soon as possible.
So
essentially.
we have to notify the employees of what we're offering. So what this board needs to do tonight is decide what that is going to be. Are we going to stick to the same formula and offer the two-person silver fully paid? Do we want to change that? What would we like to do? Because we do have to notify the employees.
That is not the most expensive.
No, the most expensive, I don't even want to figure out what it is a year.
I mean, is there something to pick on, or we just?
Yeah, no, I'll just show you this for the sake of what Kathy's talking about. She picked the bottom line offer. Well, I can't find this.
Give it to me,
I will
please.
give it to you.
You can never find it.
Well, no, I can't because
You did it to me this morning and you couldn't find it.
if you look across the bottom or across the top, the little colored charts across the
Okay,
top.
so basically what we offer, can we all scooch here together? What we offer,
Standard.
we have platinum, gold, silver, and bronze.
And under the standard plan, we don't do the health savings.
No, we don't do health savings plans, we do the platinum, the gold, the silver, or the bronze is what we can add. None of our employees would fit into the bronze, they're all too old, none of them are under 30. So we'd have to stick with one of these three plans. And as this came in, and we didn't know what it was gonna look like, and we talked about it, the board at that particular time, we decided to be safe and say, the town will cover the cost of this silver plan, which is considered the median plan that's being offered. The town would fully cover that for a two-person, for every employee. And if they wanted to take something better, they wanted one of the other plans, the gold or the platinum, that would become a payroll deduction for the difference if they chose to go with a gold or a silver.
Mm-hmm.
So taking this down, this new rate for a two-person monthly premium of $1,041.84, and multiplying it by 12, you get that amount. If we stick with what we've been doing. Now, we currently have one employee on the gold.
two-person.
On the gold 2-person, and we have one employee taking the single platinum. And they pay the difference.
And the thing was, is the idea was before it just was a set dollar amount. And when I was on the board with Kathy, when we first ran into this situation with that new Health Connect, it was
you
easier
have to give
for
them
the
a choice.
employee and for us to just choose a plan as our base plan and work
Oh,
from
it
there.
was, for 2 people, it's 1,041,
Per month.
eight,
It would actually still work out to a set
1,041.84 per
amount,
month.
but it's just you never, what the state is, you never.
Right, so that's what we offered. The employees have the right to choose up or down, but basically up if they want. But that is what the town will offer
in the contribution to whatever
in the
they choose.
contribution to the health.
But if you got different plans, you pay a set amount to the others and they pick up the difference?
Yes.
So in other words, you've got the base rate then for
Yeah.
the silver, the base rate for the platinum, just to give you an idea, is 1,325.45 per month. 1,345.45 per month. So if they would pay that difference in premium.
Right,
Per month.
from this one.
Yeah. But since we do have to notify them and tell them what our contribution is going to be during this month of October, that's something we need to do tonight, is make that decision. So I would entertain a motion to some effect.
I'd make a motion to stick with the silver plan that we offered them last year,
The 2-person silver?
yeah. And
You
keep
need,
it the same.
Second it.
okay, let's put the price contribution in there because we do have one that does not fit in the mold.
Okay, so it's standard silver
Monthly
2-person.
premium.
Yeah, but don't worry about the monthly, let's just do an annual premium
I'd make a
of
motion to
12.5
to
to.
pay for $12,502 for a 2-person plan for each employee of the town.
Okay, that works. Okay, so do you second that? Is there any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of offering a silver 2-person plan for the amount of $12,502 annually, signify by saying aye.
Right.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So could you make sure that information gets sent to the pertinent people? So now we're finally down to you, Mr. West. So it's our understanding that you would like to serve on the planning commission, and the planning commission has in fact
Unanimously
endorsed.
endorsed.
Okay, so if somebody would like to make a motion to appoint Dale West as a planning commissioner until town meeting 2017.
I was hoping that we could review his credentials and,
That's why I came.
Speech.
Speech, huh?
I have 7 years of experience in planning commission from Jamaica. I was vice chair for 2 years.
I'd make a motion to accept,
No, to appoint
to appoint Dale West
to the planning
to
commission
the planning commission
until
the town meeting
There you go.
2017.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of appointing Dale West to the planning commission signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So, that was short and sweet to the point.
Congratulations.
Now comes the one we're all gonna get really down in the mud and play with.
Just so you know, I haven't been going to the meetings, but I have been reading the minutes and stuff, and I've been trying to keep myself in tune with what's been going
Well,
on.
this lovely little letter just popped up today or yesterday.
I haven't seen that letter.
Yeah,
You have it.
I went to the last meeting.
did it?
I'm curious which one it is.
I needed that.
There's several letters.
This one's Kyle's, but
All right.
Back to me.
Basically, what they've done is they have presented, or they have developed two budgets.
Right.
And one includes the removal from the different towns, the member towns, of the recyclable. The other budget is without that service. And I don't know if we figured out, actually sat down and got our final figures. We were talking about it earlier, but we didn't have definitives.
I'm sorry for,
You get the sheet with that, it tells us.
we did, yes, I have that. I didn't photocopy
Yeah, you
the
did.
back pages. Partly
No, that's what I'm gonna
because
say, I had one from you.
it's pretty extensive.
Okay, so it's, assessment for 18 with no is 1097.
Yeah, that's what that is, without anything.
Okay, that's with,
But then you've gotta add these, so you're getting up to $20-some odd thousand.
about $24,000, yeah. No, that's for the full,
That's for the recycling.
okay. For them to continue to
Fiscal
do.
year, that'd be the fiscal year 17 if they go without no MRF. But if you less than that, it's,
I'd like to keep these, but I do have their budget breakdown if you want either one.
Yeah, I've seen that.
With and
Okay,
without.
assessment assessment of existing operations
yeah,
is like
this
seven.
one, yeah, this one, see, 17 something. And if you go the other way, it's gonna be, well,
No,
24 something.
yeah, but what's no MRF?
No
No,
MRF,
MRF,
no
no
recyclables.
So no
then
recycling.
You'd have to be all on the town.
We would have to contract with somebody to take our recyclables.
So they're saying it's going to be $17,777 if in fact,
The same as we are right now.
without the recycling.
No,
No, no,
that's
that's
with
with
the
the
existing operations.
The 17,700 is with the existing.
The 10.9 is without the MRF. When they're, 10.9 is for the basically the
We'd have to pay
administration
Wyndham
portion.
Regional for all the other, not Wyndham Regional, but
What's the
Wyndham
10-9
Solid Waste.
exactly?
If they don't pick up the paper and the cardboard
And all
and
that
the
stuff
cans.
would be 10,000.
So 17 if you want it and 10 if you
17
don't?
for the recycling and 10 if you,
Exactly.
huh?
Well, how do you get charged 10,000 if there's nothing there?
Well, other towns use Wyndham Solid Waste for a lot more than we do. We haul our own trash to Brattleboro Salvage. We don't use Wyndham Solid Waste
Yeah.
as a district member, but for, mostly, I mean, for
But
the
most,
recycling.
in that town, I don't think you use Wyndham Solid Waste to haul their trash.
Probably not.
No, they don't, because they don't
Right.
track.
They don't truck trash.
Yeah, they don't truck it.
But the thing is, your hazardous waste
Yep.
and all the other things like with the school and stuff like that, that's up to 10,000 for.
The school.
In administration.
Hold on.
With school.
Well, they have, like composting programs with some of the schools.
Are they going to run that program? It was my
Yeah,
understanding that was, the schools were gonna have to do that on their own.
They do. A little bit what you probably, Irvin, is they need a little more background on. The 10 grand is running with no MRF. The 10 grand assessment would be for running no MRF. With the new law, in which they just recently, I happen to be privy to some information, that like Winhall would try to withdraw from the district.
Not to
Hold on.
interrupt you, but I'm trash stupid. What's MRF?
MRF is
Recycling, that's where they bail it and sort it.
it's
and all
a
that
it's a
stuff.
facility that sorts it and bales it and prepares it for
Shipment.
to be sold as a bulk, as a commodity,
And it is also the Wyndham
It's
Solid
like
Waste.
scrap metal. Once it goes to a scrap metal person that collects it, pays for it, and they bundle it up and then they ship it out.
It's also the Wyndham Solid Waste provides us with the dumpsters and they come and pick them up, the roll-offs.
Right.
Now, so without that, they're looking at 10.97, call it 11, not 10.
So you were saying what was it?
In a nutshell, the 10 grand is managing this Townsend's would be basically, in a nutshell, be managing our waste disposal systems. We run our own transfer station. We are required by state law to have several permits to do that.
Yeah.
The same thing is under the new recycling law, there's several permits and administration duties that this town has to administer. We would have to do this on our own if we weren't part of the district.
We would
The
have-
district's been handling all this force, and it's enormously a lot, and you have to file a plan, and you have to have a plan and stuff in place and approved by A&R to be on your own. And we had a member town try to, or is in the middle of leaving, and I happen to have seen some information where the state of Vermont A&R is not accepting, or said it's just not like turning off a switch and walking away. There is several regulations that they would have to meet and require to do it on their own. And honestly, I thought about towns that could do it. I thought Townsend might be one that might be able to do the same thing. And you're looking at someone's duties basically 10 hours a week.
Just to file the permits for the
And
recycling.
monitoring all where you would have to be monitoring and
You'd have to keep
analyzing
track of
all
pickup.
your haulers that come into town, like Reed's, Triple T, that pick up at these other buildings. You were responsible to make sure that they are all
In
up in
compliance.
compliance, and all these facilities are in compliance to the new law, including your schools, your hospital, your large producers. That's what the Wyndham Solid Waste, that $10,000 fee is paying for, is that they have the people down there that are doing that.
You know what, if that's the case, then I would love to see for the town of Townsend to justify the amount of money they're asking for. I would absolutely love to see a breakdown for every hauler, every entity that they're keeping track of, be it the hospital, be it the school, be it Leland Gray. I don't care who else it might be, but I would like to see that because I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, but you can't.
There's a lot more to it that I don't understand. All I know is that there's this SWIFT thing, the SWIFT is an action plan that needs to go up to the state every year and get written up.
Right now, I file a certain amount of paperwork with the state. We have a brand new 10-year license for a very simple transfer station. To upgrade that to having our own recycling, to have private contractor take those roll-offs instead of Wyndham Solid Waste, you get into a neck deep in paperwork. You have to account for the tonnage, you have to make sure the stuff is clean, you have to know exactly where it's going, you have to certify, basically, every time the truck rolls out.
It'd actually be easier with a transfer station
You do have
doing
to-
it
you
than
do
it
have
would
to-
if we didn't do it, because you're still required to know that.
You are responsible for everything that basically happens up there. We have the simplest of systems, and I think we have a very economical deal. As it stands right now, I do understand Wyndham Solid Waste isn't making any money on recyclables, and some people want to get out of that somehow, but we're required to recycle. If we're gonna have a transfer station, we've got to take bottles and cans and paper, and compost.
That's it. That's just for a transfer, but if we're still a town, we're still required to make sure that that's being done too. Even if we don't have a transfer station, we are still required under Act, what is it, 46?
Well, the municipal government is required to provide oversight in the waste management of the town, whether you
Yeah.
have an official transfer station or whatever the.
Like you were saying,
It's a
yeah.
contract.
But see, right now, the way we're set up as a transfer station, there's a lot of people up on these hills that bring us rubbish to the compactor, where the next thing, what's gonna happen, well, we'll say up Gale Road or one of them, if you can't get no hollow to go up there, then we're still gonna be responsible for a place to get rid of the trash.
Well, if Wyndham Solid doesn't take our recyclables, we will be on the hook for them, and our $2.50 a bag isn't gonna cover the expense, and we can't charge for recycling.
Which means it's gonna get passed on
Oh,
in the
it's
bag
gonna get
costs to the
expensive in a
trash.
hurry. It's
That
gonna
is-
get expensive in a hurry.
Exactly.
But the thing is, they can't put the recyclables in the trash.
Well, yeah, but who's going to police that? And if the state thinks I'm gonna stand out there with a pair of gloves and go through everybody's trash bag to
No, I'm
make
not
sure
saying that,
that,
but you still
I'm just
gotta
saying.
furnish some way that they can recycle without being just trash bags.
That's our next issue with our representatives.
And honestly,
I
if
can
we
have-
actually had a
I can
compactor
have,
where we had it hauled away,
Yeah,
like
I'll see
there's
if I can
there's
get
haulers
Jason,
out there
get
that
Bob
would do
Spencer
both
to
just to get one, just to get it.
I think we're in a unique, a relatively unique position, and we're not set up to be able to afford. We haven't transitioned toward the halfway point. We're not a big municipality. We're either in this game or we're out.
Yeah.
But we can't get out anymore.
And the thing
so
is,
problem.
but they're pushing to the point where we're gonna have no choice but to get out. Because now we're starting to talk about covering the cost of having those recycling bins out there. We can't charge them to put things in them.
Right.
But we can up the price of the bags to
To
cover the
administrative-
overall expense
The permitting
of,
fees and the- Right.
But one way you could reduce costs is if you go, but it's still gonna cost you money, but go commingled.
Single stream.
Newspaper and tin and glass all in
Yeah.
one container.
just like the haulers are doing.
Yep.
And the thing is some food for thought that I thought of is contract it out.
Yeah.
Contract out the space to a hauler to come in and do it all, and then he guys comes in and he charges a rate. But you're able to still provide it for the ones that need it?
Are they gonna care when people stuff tires in it and freaking
They wouldn't, because they would have a
diapers
tenant there to
and
handle
anything
that.
else?
They would have to have their own tenant there, and you would have those in your rules.
So we
Contract.
get maybe get another Arnold there.
But the thing is,
Or two.
if you do that, then you either get a furnace of containers or have them do it, and if they furnish them, they're gonna pay rent on them.
I think it'd be easier to get an excavator.
They did not
I
make
think
this was,
match is the cheapest way to go.
this increased the cost. It's just like education consolidated.
Well,
This
it's
increased the
a-
cost.
Well,
Shifting.
but yeah, but the legislature can on one hand say we can't charge for recyclables, but yet on the other hand
You have to
force
collect.
the administrative cost up to the point where you don't recoup the costs. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's ridiculous.
And there's no market for it, so you're
I
not
don't
gonna recoup
disagree
the
with
cost
that,
of the
I
other
don't.
revenue.
You know, I mean, now we're looking at what, $3, $4, $5 a bag to cover the cost of those roll-offs and having somebody come haul them away. And plus the 10,000 or 17,000 or whatever the heck it was as a base fee. I'm not
Right,
sure
but
what.
your bag use is gonna go
The
down.
base fee would be 10,000 plus approximately 14,000 is what they figure it costs you to get ready to recycle.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, you know, and we're gonna have to make up the difference in that by raising the bags.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know, so,
But every town is getting the option. I don't know, but I
The
got a
17
feeling,
is a bargain.
I got a feeling they're gonna still wanna stay with the MERV.
I would hope they do, and again, it's,
But why a lot of this came up was the town of Brattleboro was complaining about what it cost them.
And the MRF,
And
they're not
see-
making any money.
but that's
with
due to the
recyclables.
legislature changing the laws and
Oh, yeah.
shifting the burden to the smaller communities and saying you have to pick up and recycle, separate things out. Even if there's no market for the stuff you recycle, you have to take that for free from the homeowner or from the resident. And we're not gonna subsidize it.
But see.
You've gotta find a way to cover that cost.
Brattleboro's already paying the not the separation, but they're going commingled.
Yeah.
And they got a hauler that picks it up
Yeah.
every other week or every week. And then every other week they pick up the garbage.
well, that's what they're doing here. The haulers are doing that here.
Yeah,
It's every other week,
And they're all gone pretty much single stream.
yeah,
but they're all going, the haulers are mostly, they've all gone commingled.
yeah.
Yeah.
You only make
But
one
which-
run.
You have to out here.
Okay.
You can't run that many
No,
trucks.
but to get rid of it, they're paying a fee to get rid of it, and, well, we are, I mean, even with MRF, but it's worth a lot more than going through the MRF than it is to be commingled, you know, as far as the resale of it.
But it's evidently not worth it for the Wyndham Solid Waste.
To run the MRF, it costs money, and you don't, the prices have dropped right off. Paper, newspaper, and all that
Well, that's
stuff.
what I'm saying, you know, it's fallen so much, it's not fiscally healthy for Wyndham Solid Waste to continue to do it. But yet, if the town were to contract with the hauler to go single stream, it's still being picked up, we're still meeting the mandates of the law, but it's still gonna end up in the landfills anyway because nobody wants it,
I
they're-
hadn't done any
no, they're
pricing yet,
shipping
but
it.
maybe.
are they?
Yep, but what it's doing is going up because being trucked from Brattleboro to, well, Casella's one of them in Rutland. And they're going through it, running it across the floor and trying to sort it, or sorting the trash out supposedly.
Well, like I said, we have to make some decision here as to what we're going to do, particularly if we're going to raise bags, because we're going to have to get those notices out. So, I don't know if you wanna take some time to I can't say it, digest the letter and talk about it at the next meeting, or what you'd like to do.
Now, they're gonna pass the budget, see, that's the reason why they.
Do we have to tell them before they
About
pass the budget
15,
which one
went
they
down.
want?
Well, do, whatever, whichever
It
budget
was
they pass,
17, went
do
down
three
to
of them.
15 and change,
So we
15,
said
6, something like that. And
No,
now
it's
it's come
talking
back to
about two.
17.
So really,
I think the budget's gonna be
$10,000 for
the November
administration.
meeting, so we can have it time to tell me.
Potentially.
Hey, we need a one-way conversation going on
I
here.
just asked a question of what was our assessment for last year. Sorry,
Around 17.
I couldn't remember off the top of my head.
So if basically we have to make a decision by November, do you wanna wait? When's the meeting for Wyndham Solid Waste?
They're saying
The second
15th,
Thursday.
10th. Let's stick with it. They're gonna discuss,
Ninth to five, second Thursday.
10th.
at the November 10th meeting, the Board of Supervisors consider whether to keep the current population-based assessment or to proceed with hearings to change the method of apportionment to a hybrid 75-25. At the November 10th meeting, the Board of Supervisors will be voting on the budget, so,
So we can't wait till the 10th, because that's gonna be our meeting as well.
yeah.
Well, we meet the 8th?
We won't meet the 8th.
Nope, because
It's
that's election.
night.
Oh,
So we're gonna have to move it. We can't do it Wednesday because another entity uses this room, so we're gonna have our meeting on the 10th.
Be nice to know, cause he'll be here, I'll go to that. I'll make sure I go to that one. I just like to know what some of your wishes are. Or if
You don't
can't
wanna
go.
know.
I'll make the motion
Say
that
wishes.
we recommend to stay with her.
Okay, is there a second for that?
Second.
Is there any further discussion on that? What are we committing to?
17.
17? Okay. Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor of informing the commissioner for Wyndham Regional Commission that we would like to stay with the MRF for 2000.
Wyndham Solid Waste.
Wyndham Solid Waste, that's right, that's the commission. We can tell the commission too.
We'll let Wyndham Solid Waste.
No, let's tell the Wyndham Solid, let's tell, never mind.
It's your representative.
We don't even have one.
But the town of
For-
Townsend would
for-
prefer to stay with the
Yeah, with the MRF.
recycling
Yeah.
program. Right.
Okay. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to vote, I don't want to. The motion, I guess, passes.
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I think there needs to be some serious look at the legislative piece of this and what it is causing. Because this is not to anybody's benefit.
No, I
It's
was,
not the environment's, not the towns, not the people's, nobody's.
That's why I made the motion to stay with it.
All right, the audit update. I'm gonna skip the budget piece for right now, let's just do the quick.
The audit, the independent audit with Sullivan McCoy is in process. It's 2/3 done, at least for the time that the auditor is gonna be here Monday, Tuesday, and tomorrow. Potentially maybe Thursday morning, we'll see. But he's got 2 days in, he's got a lot of paperwork, he's asked a few questions, it seems to be moving along. Kathy was here for a good part of today. No big issues so far.
All right, and then the town report update, I know there's been some back and forth between people that have been appointed to the committee.
I could have pulled that off. I had asked the town report committee if they had anything to address with the board, because as we go into budget season and look for an audit to be completed, I know there's been some question and some back and forth with regard to how the select board is going to have a town report done. And a committee was appointed to work on that, and I don't know that everybody's coalesced with, the same ideas. So I had asked for an update or any questions for the board, and did not receive any.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, but that's why I put that on there.
All right, then the manila folder that you all had in your slots contain your working documents for the 3 different funds for budget season?
I've asked departments to start working on their departmental budgets, I mean, just, take a look at last year's and think about this year and work on that. I know Kurt with the highway garage will be, and Joe, the fire department will meet, they'll take a look at it, I'm sure.
And there was
the
the
listers
fire
are,
department wanted, we talked, you
Yep,
know, did
the
earlier.
listers are looking at it but anyway, to try to get that in and then any written reports, toward the end of the month, but again, for the town report committee to have those papers.
So if you could take a look at those sheets and start thinking about the budget, we're gonna have to start having those discussions shortly. As soon as we start getting some budgets from some of the other
Right.
departments. Then down to the meeting schedules, again, I just mentioned the fact that our next regularly scheduled meeting is scheduled for election night, and we're going to have to move it. And there was a reason Monday we can't move it into this room because this room will be set for the election, so there's not any room for it. Tuesday's the election, Wednesday is the other entity using this room. So the earliest we could actually reschedule that meeting for would be the 10th.
And at the last meeting, that was kind of a tentative, the calendars looked okay for Rob, for Kathy, and for Kyle. I know it conflicts probably with Wyndham Solid Waste, and we haven't talked yet, so.
Can we move election night?
Let's get
There's
it.
some people in this building that would like to.
I tell you, with all of the flying around with the rigged election, we could, nobody knows the difference, right?
You don't have to be brought in tonight.
So is there any objection seriously to the 10th? I don't want to go too much further than
The
that.
only thing is, the 10th, I'll be at the solid waste.
Well, Kyle will be here. That was something.
Well, if somebody else will be here, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Kyle was agreeable to that. At the last meeting, minutes just approved. Everybody was open for but again, it's a ways out. And
For me too. I may not be here.
Yeah.
I think that's
When we
what
go
we're
to
cool
Correspondence.
about.
It was a month out when you talked about it.
Sounds like it.
That's why I say, to be there.
So, let's go ahead. I'll entertain a motion to reschedule the next meeting to the 10th of November at 6 p.m.
Second. So
Okay.
moved.
Oh, okay.
What I-
Is there a second?
We'll get them both.
Okay. All those in favor of rescheduling the meeting to the 10th signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. Would you please make sure that all 5 members of the board are aware of
And
that?
BCTV.
I understand,
Yes.
but let everybody important know that that's happening.
Yep.
Irvin, if you're not gonna be able to make it, let me know.
Yeah, I will.
I'll go.
I'm gonna be there, cause I give them some,
You need to go, cause I've been
I
reading
give
this,
them
they've
some
been missing.
stuff to last, what I thought last meeting.
And I do have a request from the town clerk to know how many select board members plan on attending to count on election night. Okay,
November 8th.
okay, well, I have no choice, I have to be here, so it doesn't matter. So I'll let her know, all right. Is there anything else that I'm not aware of? I don't have it on the table in front of me somewhere.
But another one of them things on that solid waste is, you're gonna have to, not saying they'll use it, but, for this compost stuff, furnish a place.
We actually have a little cutout up there.
Yeah, but I say, that's another, but that would be a heck of a lot more probably if a lot of your recyclable stuff wasn't picked up and stuff people bringing it in. You don't know it, one way or the other.
Someone might, if we
But it's
did
part
it
of the-
right, you could
part
have
of
them,
the
they'd bring a container in just for that.
But I
You
understand,
could, but most people compost or it ends up in.
but what, way I understood it, the last meeting, that they were still gonna carry on the composting.
Well, they're gonna have to because there is a rule coming up in 2018 or something, no food scraps whatsoever in your.
Oh, yeah,
in your
no,
bin.
The trash.
So now your
They-
pork chop bones have to be composted.
They're
People
doing
are
a lot
gonna,
of it right now.
right, people are
Like
gonna
they
make
just-
use of that.
They screened a whole bunch of that,
Well, it means the
Compost.
front loader is gonna
Topsoil,
be going down to
topsoil.
the pit on a daily basis to
Who's
move
hauling
the.
that for 'em?
the possums and the
Well,
raccoons.
they do it right there.
And the
Then
bears.
It's gonna
it,
be serious.
when it's sold, it's, you want it by LO, do you?
No, I meant who's.
Bring it in, Triple T, cause they pick up from Brattleboro. I don't know what they do from Vernon or not, but Triple T does that one too.
Okay, so
You gotta get
anyway,
all that compost down to Harmonyville somehow or other.
that's right, I got a big field you can bury it in, what the heck? Anyway,
Makes for good topsoil.
it does, and it needs topsoil. So, if there's nothing else, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:05.
So, boom.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No, we are adjourned, thank you all.